And we're back
And we're back.
to Truth and Popcorn.
Yeah, you think they're ready?
Don't matter if they are.
That's how the truth works. It hits you when it hits you. So
So that's the question. I understand most people don't really have anything. Hat forward, hat backward.
yeah, you're ugly either way. So
Won't make much difference.
yeah,
Back it is. So where nobody is starting with any kind of introductions in these things.
they're
See,
not.
I'm worried that I'm not getting picked up if I'm looking at you.
That's what I was saying. You have to
I
have it on
know.
my
Yep.
side and angled back towards you. That's why I'm doing
Yep.
it this way. But we're gonna learn as we
That'll
go.
work.
We're gonna make adjustments. We are not pretending that this is anything that it is not.
Yep.
We are two absolutely run of the mill guys that could be anybody.
Figuring it out.
That are figuring it out and wanting to have the conversation. We've been having these conversations pretty much for years at this point, I would say.
Yeah.
The
Multiple years at least.
the time that I remember in my head of when this really honestly kicked off, and I don't know why this is in my head, but I remember we were starting the shower downstairs. That's
We started like we were starting to shower. I was
sorry.
like, wait, did we do something?
no,
what
sorry.
do we have in our past?
Context. You were starting to build the
Yes,
shower in
yes.
mom and dad's basement. And I remember being really excited about something and bringing it to you and being like, what about this? What about that? And that was kind of what launched these like chasing truth kind of things. Because we've always
Yeah.
had good conversations, but they've been very, I don't want to say shallow, but they've been,
Yeah.
they
That-
haven't been like this.
That started a focus on more important things.
Much more important things, yes. And that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. No, well, I want to say maybe that's even 2022. So yeah, a few years ago now.
It's been a couple of years, so
And that's actually a good point. Is that something that we would want in the introduction of our stories? Because that really, now that I think about it, now that you bring that up, that is where it started, because that's when I started looking into church history and going through my journey with all of that.
Yeah.
And that's when I was coming to you with like, hey, do you know blank?
What about this?
Or what about this? And it started all those trillions of different conversations. But yeah, because I do remember working in the bathroom and
Yeah.
and having those conversations kind of at the very beginning. So
Well,
is
we
that
can get
something
into
that
our-
we'd want to?
we've got plenty of time. We can go into our stories eventually for sure. I think it's important to just at least say that we're obviously coming at life from a different. Obviously we're brothers. We even though we were raised in the same house, same family, it's not like we have split parents. But even with that, we have had, I feel like, wildly different experiences and upbringings. Your childhood was very different than my childhood.
Which I think you're lying to me half of the time when you say that, like, you don't come, like, when I come with a perspective and it's like, you're like, I don't see it. And it's like, you were there. What do you mean you don't see it? What are you talking about? You were 3 years older than me. You know what I'm talking about.
5, but who's counting?
Well, yeah.
But
now I recognize.
it's funny that you said that because I just watched a reaction to Joe Rogan today where he was talking with darn it, I can't remember his name, but I really like him as a comedian. But they were talking about Andrew Schultz, and they were talking about how this whole thing with Charlie Kirk really opened Andrew's eyes, to just the two completely different realities that people are living. There are people who saw that event a certain way, and there's other people who saw it a completely different way. We're all living in the same country, we're living in the same world at the same time,
With
and yet
very different,
wildly different perspectives and realities, and growing up in the same house, we had wildly different childhoods and perspectives and all of that, which I thought was a good launching point of, as adults now, a lot of the places where I'm weak, you're strong in. And I love that. Like, you started having kids earlier than I did. And I'm coming to you all the time with questions about, like, have you had this conversation yet? How did you do that? What do you guys do for X, Y, and Z? And so I have strengths in other areas where you might not have as much experience in. And then you have strengths in areas that I'm weaker in.
Yeah.
And having the relationship that we have has been a huge blessing, because we cover each other's weak spots.
Yeah.
And that's that whole concept that you hear all the time of like strength and diversity was like, yeah, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
And there's a huge advantage to being diverse as long as the end point or the end goal is the same. Like you and I have different strengths and different weaknesses, but I know you love me and I know you love my family and you want what's best for us. And so you're always going to watch my back for my weak spots and vice versa. I'm going to come to you and help if you guys are struggling in an area that I can help in. Right.
Yeah.
But that works out nicely because we are brothers.
And we care about
each other. If we didn't have the same end goal at the end of the day, if we're just different people, I don't know you from Adam, I don't know about you, I don't care about you, and then we're diverse and we're different, it's like, well, forget you. You know what I mean? So I hear in my social media feeds, in my algorithm, and we're going to have to come up with a couple of phrases, but in my algorithm, I hear all the time people saying they're tearing down that phrase, there's strength and diversity, and they just rip it to shreds. They're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then there's other people that are like, well, we have strength and diversity. It's like, yes, you're both right.
The concept does make a lot of sense. I never really thought about it before of the missing fact. The key piece that puts all that together is the end goal that we're all working towards each other on.
Yeah.
Because it does help a lot if I know something and I've got certain strengths and then the person next to me has totally different strengths and we complete each other and we fill in those pieces. Makes total sense. When you're not working towards the same goal, it's totally irrelevant.
It's just diversity now. Now it's just separation.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, and that's that little kernel of truth that's missing right there in that conversation. People are just talking past each other because they're missing that little kernel of truth.
Yeah.
So that was what, that was the points of this podcast was. There's a lot of places where we're talking past each other. Where's that kernel of truth? How do we just explore it? Not like I have all the answers, not like you have all the answers.
Yeah.
But I think what's unique about us is even though we have wildly different perspectives, and you and I don't agree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the important part to emphasize on. When we do have these conversations, they can get heated. We can get animated because we genuinely have different opinions. Mm-hmm. We're coming from different places, and so, I get animated anytime I'm trying to make a point. But it doesn't, by the end of it, it may look from an outside perspective that it's crazy or it's getting heated, but it's never getting past a very superficial point, at least, between us, as far as like, I may act upset. I'm not actually upset. Like, right. I'm not worked up at all.
I'm not worried you're going to take a swing at me.
Yeah, I don't care if you agree with me at the end of this. We could end with you completely in disagreement from where I'm at, and it doesn't bother me. I don't need you to agree with me, and that's kind of the beauty of where we're at, in our relationship, is that we can have those more extreme conversations with zero fear of that ending our relationship or affecting our relationship or how we care about each other. Because that's what's hardest. Even having conversations with family. I mean, me and Kai are so different. I wonder how much we're going to want to use names in this. But, we're so different that we have conversations. And even with how much I love her and she loves me, there's sometimes even with us that's like, maybe we shouldn't keep like going down this road. Like maybe we'll call it quits here because like we might get a little bit serious if we keep going down the road.
And that, I feel like that is so much more the norm now than the exception.
Yeah.
Which is sad because it should be the opposite. There should be that one person that you're like, I just can't have conversations with that person because it's going to get too heated. And
we're just too perfectly opposed to be able to have these kind of conversations.
But that should only be like one person in your life. It shouldn't be, wow, I can't even have a conversation with a random person at work because of that.
Yep.
Or the person in the comment section of a YouTube video,
So that's interesting, I guess. Do you think that it is more what the standard base reaction? Do you think it's easier to have these conversations with someone who you know and care about, or somebody totally random and off the street? Which one do you think would be naturally easier to have these kind of conversations?
For me personally, somebody I know, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Because the person on the street, again, you would hope that it would never escalate.
Right.
But I've watched way too much YouTube. I've spent way too much time online watching absolute complete strangers straight up murk each other. Somebody pulls out literally just murder each other. Yeah. And that to me is wild. That is so wild. But if there's somebody who I don't know and I'm like, how far can I push this person? I'm obviously going to filter my language from a place of fear. Whereas with somebody who I know, I might still filter my language, but it's because I'm trying to get my actual meaning across.
You can just focus on the message that you're trying to have.
I'm not necessarily worried that it's going to get so heated that someone's going to throw fists. I've never had that worry with you.
Yeah, no, of course.
Obviously, there's people that I
have
worried.
Maybe a couple times.
Yeah,
it's been close.
it's strange to me. And you made a comment the other day about how there was a push not to bring up politics and religion around the Thanksgiving dinner, or when you go home to visit family. Don't bring this stuff up. And I've since then I've seen this online where people are saying the exact same thing. They're saying like, hey,
that was the whole thing. I mean, just last year or whatever was during the election was like, hey, this is going to ruin Thanksgiving dinners. If your family is voting a certain way, don't go to family dinner. Don't go to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Show solidarity in not showing up to your family dinner.
To your family.
Because this is more important. This ideology, this frame of mind is more important than your family or the people that are closest to you. And if they don't agree with you, you shouldn't talk about it. You should just cut them out of your life. That was crazy that was...
And that was circulating.
That was a sentiment. Yeah, that was a sentiment that a lot of people had, that a lot of people agreed with. They're like, yeah, I'm not going to family dinner.
I saw videos, where people were proud of that fact. They were using that as a badge of honor. I'm not going back to my crazy family. And it was both sides.
Yeah.
Not going to my liberal family. I'm not going to my MAGA family.
Yep.
And that's, to me, is just so the opposite of like, these are the... You said the other day, these are the people that it should be easier to have these conversations with.
This is where you practice.
This is where you practice. Yep. And then you take it out into where you work or the public square or whatever. But if you can't have these conversations with somebody who, at the end of the day, you should feel pretty confident this person's not going to beat the crap out of you.
Yeah.
And for the record, I get that there's people out there that maybe do have families that get violent. That's obviously a reality.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to dog on anybody or say
if that is your actual reality, where having these conversations will get you physically harmed, then that's not what we're talking.
That's not what we're talking about.
That's not who we're talking to.
And that's not. And I want to have a podcast about that too. About you want to talk about actual privilege, white privilege, black privilege, any kind of privilege. I would argue the only real privilege that matters. There's two that I can think of, and we'll talk about this more later. But there's money privilege for sure. If you have money, there's definitely a privilege that comes with that. And then there's
pretty privilege.
Yeah, okay, maybe there's
pretty
three.
Privilege has got to be in there.
There's three. Okay. But the second one that I was meaning was family privilege. If you have if you have two parents in the household and you were raised in a safe spot, which not everybody was, that does set you up really well. And there's definitely some privilege with that, for sure.
No question.
So we can get into that a little bit later. But as far as kind of going into our stories, and I'm happy to do that because I think there is. I think everybody would love to think of themselves as a truth seeker in this whole like Indiana Jones, like, yes, I've been searching for the truth and my whole life's led me to this moment, and there's the little ray of sunshine coming down to that spotlight and you're about to uncover something. But for me, truth has never shown up that way. It's come at times when I didn't expect it. It's been things that I didn't often appreciate in the moment. But I'm very grateful for every time that I did come across a kernel of truth, and especially with everything that's happened recently, I've felt, and I know you've said the same, that you almost have an obligation to share that journey with, I've shared my journey with you, you've shared your journey with me. There's been friends that I have shared tiny little snippets of my journey with, and they've all been like, wow, that's very interesting. I've had X, Y, and Z. So I think a lot of people are on the path to truth. And that's what this podcast is just meant to be, is just meant to share our search for truth with anybody who wants to listen and join in. And I think it's worth pointing out that we both have had we've both had things in our life where we easily could have been stopped short on our journey. Like the fact that we're sitting together as adults with our childhood is a little bit of a miracle. We both had near-death experiences. We both had times where our journeys could have been cut short. They weren't for one reason or another. If you're religious, it was a miracle. If you're not religious, it was just a fluke accident that kept us alive. Yeah. But for one reason or another, we've both had pretty interesting stories. And for the record, I think a lot of people out there probably do have similar crazy stories that if they had a microphone in front of them, they could, I love hearing other people's stories.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get people on the podcast that want to share their stories. But our stories, have some interesting points to it. So if you want to just kind of touch on one of the ways that you almost weren't here today, and for the record, I am thinking of the climbing accident.
Yeah, so I hate talking about it because I always, in my mind, it feels dumb. In my mind, it feels like I tripped down some stairs, and it's like, and mom's always like, you almost died. I was like, Mom, I was fine. Like I was gonna be fine. I always was gonna be fine. I'm fine. So
from the other perspective, watching it happen
a little bit. I was young when it happened, so I think that was definitely the illusion of immortality that we all have at 13 or 12, whatever age. I know I would have been 13.
You'd have been 13 or 14 because I think I was 18 or 19.
Yep. So we come from a family that's our dad was very into outdoor activities. We did a lot of camping. We did a lot of rock climbing. Did a lot of rappelling. From early as I can remember, 3-4 years old.
Had a harness on.
Yep. Harness on.
We would rappel off the side of our house.
Legs, rappelling down. Yeah. So very comfortable with it. Very familiar with it. And we're camping one summer, and we're taking up cousins who don't usually go rock climbing or
inexperienced
climbers. So me feeling cool at 13 years old, Dad tells us to go up top and be
up top of a 60-foot sheer granite cliff.
That number gets higher every time I feel like we talk.
We've settled on 60. We've settled on 60.
All right. So we're at the top of a 60-foot cliff.
It used to be 80.
So I'm one of the first. I think Dad went down first.
No,
he
went down after you.
I was the first one to go.
You were the very first person to go down.
Yeah, so I'm the first one.
There's 4 of us at the top.
My dad's up there, and I'm getting ready to go down, and there's a whole bunch of just stupid accidents that kind of culminate.
It was a perfect storm.
The perfect storm for me. I've done this a million times, but I get to the top, I get to the ledge, and I go to lean back, and I have no idea why. I cannot, for the life of me, remember if there was something that happened. Whatever it is, I just let go. And for anybody that doesn't rappel, you cannot let go because you have to be able to hold on to the rope. That's what causes the friction and stops you. For whatever reason, I just totally, hands in the air, let go. And there's a person down, our uncle.
Uncle Ron was on
the belay below. And he goes to pull the rope, which is what you do to stop somebody when they're falling. And somehow there's slack
6
in the
feet
rope.
plus of slack.
He's on a hill, so he pulls and he gets nothing to stop him, so he goes flying down the hillside.
He got more messed up than you did.
Got way more messed up than I did. Jonathan's on the top of the hill, seeing rope go by him. I don't even know how there's rope up there for you to be grabbed.
I don't know either.
But Jonathan tries to grab the rope, thinking that's going to stop me, but it just burns the heck out of your hands. So you got more messed up than I did. And luckily...
But you went from the top of a cliff. You didn't grab the cliff, right? You didn't catch yourself. You didn't slide down.
There was a ledge somewhere in the middle. I don't know where exactly in the time frame or in the space, but somewhere there was a ledge that I bounced off of. I hit that and then kind of bounced off that. So I had a little bit of a break in my fall. And then I fall to the ground.
But for context, people fall off of their houses, a 12-foot tall roof. People fall off of those things
and break a neck,
break necks, break hips, break backs, break arms, legs. Landing the wrong way from 10 feet up in the air can mess you up pretty good. You fell from, and let's even be conservative. Let's say 50. Yeah. You picked up a lot of speed, crashed into a rock shelf, and then went down into an area that we ended up having to call search and rescue to come and get you from.
Well, no, if you remember, there were some people next to us, Tiny Miracles. There was a group next to us that were part of the medical team.
Oh, is that what it was?
In that city, whatever.
Granite,
wherever we were, there was somebody, they were climbing next to us.
Gotcha. They were the ones who came.
They immediately came and started checking me out and
mobilizing
saying, hey, don't move your neck and all that kind of stuff. And so we end up they're holding me there for an hour. I feel fine.
Everyone else is freaking out more than you are.
Losing their mind. The ambulance gets there. They put me on a stretcher. They carry me off the mountain.
Yep.
They cut off my pants. Get to the hospital and they go, yeah, you got a scratch on your knee, but you're good. I was like, well, I feel good. So I was good. Let me go already because I'm 13 and I'm just like, guys, this is not a big deal.
I just fell off of a cliff.
I fell off a cliff and I'm fine.
Wearing a cheap plastic climbing helmet, and that's it.
Move on. And so, yeah.
But what a miracle. I mean, like, again, people get so much more hurt on so much less. Yeah. You were 3 or 4 times higher, and yet somehow didn't even break a bone.
Yeah.
Didn't break a single bone.
Barely broke skin.
Barely broke skin.
Some might say I'm kind of like Bruce Willis in...
No.
Okay. No.
Nobody won't say that.
I might
He's way better looking.
One time. Anyway, yeah. So it was a situation where it absolutely could have gone a different way. I should be far more grateful to God every day that it didn't go that way. I was told by Mom all the time I was saved and angels
you had
were
an angel
watching
carrying
me
you that day.
And yeah, I mean, that's going to have to be a future episode in and of itself of just where God gets involved and how he gets involved, because that's something that I've always kind of been unsure on exactly what I think it is. But at the end of the day, regardless, I'm grateful that it turned out the way that it did and I'm here today. And yeah.
Yep. I mean, if you're not religious, you could say, hey, that was a 1 in a million chance. And sure, if that's how you choose to look at it, okay. I mean, what's the difference between a 1 in a million chance and an angel or God interfering? Like, they're just two different explanations of you should have died, but you didn't. For some reason that we don't know. And that's a way cool story. And I think there are a lot of people who could probably share similar stories.
Well, yours is cooler. You got to get into it.
Mine's definitely not cooler, but it's more recent.
Yours is definitely more of a you should have been dead. Like mine is like, it makes sense. I was
plunging
13,
off a 60-foot cliff should have killed you.
I had that drunk driver like just loose
going
body
loose
ragdoll, you know,
maybe,
and so it just that saved me. But
I know from my perspective at the top of that cliff, Dad thought you were dead.
Yeah, he scaled that mountain and
he went down and
he went down faster than I did.
Yeah,
but he stopped himself.
He clipped into the rope and went after you so fast. I've never seen that man move that fast, and I was scared of him in that moment.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So we were afraid you were dead.
Yeah,
and in some context, we love to do a lot of the same things. We love to climb together. We love to play music together. We love to go motorcycle riding together. And earlier this year, mine was much more recent. Back in March, I was on my motorcycle, and I was not going very far, so I wasn't wearing the gear that I should have been wearing. I was not wearing a helmet. I was wearing an armored jacket and like some boots and some riding pants, but I wasn't wearing a helmet. And I was on a little 2-lane highway here going about 50 miles an hour. And a young driver who just was inexperienced and didn't see me pulled out to make a left-hand turn and go the opposite direction that I was going. So she pulled out in front of me, and I plowed into the car with very minimal time to brake. Head on into the car. I got a concussion. I smashed into the car and flipped over it. And the way that the surgeon explained it to me was, crashing headfirst into a car at 50 miles an hour with a helmet on, big chances that you're going to be permanently changed if you survive it. Yeah. If you plow into the car and you're not wearing a helmet and you hit your head,
that's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you've got single digit chances of even surviving, let alone not having a traumatic brain injury or having your life completely changed. And I somehow, again, freak accident is what the surgeon said. I'm absolutely of the opinion that there was higher power involved, but not only did I not get a traumatic brain injury, but I never even lost consciousness during the event. It was wild. I hit the ground and I remember hearing the snap like on my arm. I remember hearing that really low pop because I shattered my left arm. I got a spiral fracture and it broke in over 7 places. And I remember hearing the sound of it. And then I just remember people pulling over, and I couldn't see because I had some pretty bad lacerations on my head and there was blood everywhere. And so I didn't see anything. I do remember before the blood started that I opened my eyes, and I remember thinking in the moment that I was in this kind of like huddled up fetal position because I could feel arms around my chest. And then when I opened my eyes and I saw that my arm was like twisted back up behind me, it was like, oh, like that's not good. I can't move my arm. My arm is not where my brain thinks it is. Clearly something's wrong here. And I remember trying to kind of like lean up, trying to sit up, and just massive pain. So that was when I just laid there. I just laid back and I covered my face with my other hand and just waited. There was people there really quickly. I was very lucky. One of the guys whose house the crash happened in front of came running out, and he was also a biker. He rode motorcycles, so he came out real quick and was like, "Hey, don't worry about the bike, man. Just lay there. Can I call somebody for you?" And I was conscious the entire time, so I was able to have him call my wife, and we got everything taken care of. But yeah, that was a single digit chance of surviving that as well. There's I think both of those instances are good examples of times where, like I think everybody has a mission in life. I don't think you know what your mission is. And I don't think you will know until that moment comes, and you might not even know it. Like, you may fulfill your mission and never even understand that was
what you were here for.
That was it for you. But I do believe that if you're destined for something and you're trying hard to do whatever it is that you're meant to do, I think there is an unseen power that aids you in that. And I don't know what that is for either one of us, but I have the personal belief that us and probably many, many other people out there do have a reason that they're here. They probably have a reason why they've been saved, or why they've been aided in some way, or why they've been preserved. And that's just the truth of it.
Yeah. Well, and we may want to edit this out, but I feel like a very relevant part, at least for my part of the journey, has been we both grew up very religious.
Mm-hmm.
There was never a moment in time that we weren't taught about God or brought with that kind of paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
And I never cared that much as a kid. Like, I always believed there was a God. I believed most of the things that I was taught growing up, but I'd never really cared. It didn't matter.
Right.
And I don't know what made the change. Well, no, I know what made the change. It's the fear and trembling before God.
Yeah.
It's that moves you quick.
Sure.
But I think that was a real part of it's like this is more relevant, this is more important than I've ever given credence to before in my life. And I'm now at a point in time where I want to find God and I want to understand, and as we talk about all the time, God is synonymous with truth, and the search for God and the search for truth really go hand in hand. So yeah, I guess I part of that journey of caring about it was my journey with the church specifically, and so that's why I don't know if we wanted to really talk about that.
We've got plenty of podcast episodes coming up where we can.
And also on that note, we're now living in a world where truth has never been more complicated, more convoluted, more diluted, more there's just so much more absolute not truth out there. There's so much more truth that is so close, and you think that it's, we're in a world where we don't know what's true or not true, even on the most basic of things.
Yeah.
That we used to be very simple. Like, hey, we could all at least
everybody knew X, Y, and Z.
We all can agree at least on these small things, and there's plenty of mysteries out there in the world that we don't know yet, but we're all here. And I feel like in my lifetime, as short as it has been, I've gone from that paradigm where, hey, we're all at least agree on certain things, to where now none of us agree on anything anymore. Right. And then not only do we not agree on anything anymore, but then we get told to not discuss the things that we no longer agree on. It's like, hey, just if they don't agree with you, they're now part of them, and we don't like them, we're part of us. And everybody is just hunkered down, it feels like, into these tribes. And I'm excited to have conversations with anyone and everyone who doesn't see life the way that we see it, or the way that I see it specifically. And that's why I love having our conversations, and hope to have a lot more conversations.
For sure. Absolutely. And I mean, what more obvious example of divide and conquer? Yeah. could there possibly be?
No,
Like
that
you
is
just said,
absolutely.
it confuses people. People start to have disagreements, which is fine as long as we talk. But then with the push, hey, don't talk. Don't work it out.
Yeah.
Don't reach
Don't
across the
try to
aisle.
make sense. Don't
Yeah.
try to make it make sense with you and another person.
Yeah.
Just accept that they can't be talked to. They
Yep.
can't be rationed with.
Yep.
They can't be given the daylight to even voice their opinion, let alone for you to have a conversation and try and see like, hey, maybe you have a point.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to shine light on areas where, I mean, where there is disagreement, there is confusion, right?
Yeah.
And confusion only comes when the truth is not known. And we've said that truth is synonymous with God, which I would argue is synonymous with light. So we can say where there's confusion, there's darkness. And the whole point of this is to just shine as much light as we can.
Yeah.
Here, I don't know everything. I know very little. Actually, the more that I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
And
But
more, you don't necessarily want to know.
Oh, I want to know it all.
Yeah,
I want to know as much as I
can. That's another
can.
conversation. You're right. You're right.
I want to know as much as I can.
I'm going to let you just go.
But I'm okay with knowing that I may be wrong. I'm okay with that. I'm coming from a space of
That's the important part that I feel like needs to be included.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, and that's part of the conversation. The conversation has to be: here's the little that I do know.
Yep.
Here's the part that I think, and I'm okay to be wrong on this. I want to hear multiple perspectives so that I can nail down on what else I do know.
Yeah.
And the more that you do that, the more well-rounded you're going to be. That's honestly, that's why I love listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. Is he comes at it very unassuming. He's just like, tell me, just talk, man.
Well, yeah, no, 100%. I think that's why he clearly has done as well as he's done, is because he is just a person. I've got no personal. What's the word for it? I've got no agenda here.
No, there's
I'm
no
just
ego.
trying to learn here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn, and I may not agree with everything you say, but I mean, obviously, he talks to some really crazy people, and it's like I don't have to agree with everything you're saying, but I love hearing it.
Yep.
I love hearing the perspective. I love hearing the ideas that you have because I've never thought of those.
Yep. So, yeah, that is the goal here. That's the goal with this, and you know, if people resonate with it, and if they want to add what they think and what they know, we'd love to have these conversations with more people.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we're just gonna keep having the conversations, and we're gonna keep the mics on. We're gonna keep the camera rolling, and we're just gonna explore the darkness and try to find the light, trying to find that kernel of truth in the dark.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, man.
Love it.
One down.
One down.
Good job.